Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning. Today, we're joined by Tim Sandstrom of Gear Up Thompson Warriors. Good morning, Tim.
Hey Sandy, how you doing? How's
Uh,
everybody in Maryland doing?
we are doing awesome. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Maryland.
You know what? You must be closer to the beach because where I'm at, it's a little bit overcast, and I wouldn't mind
Uh,
being at the beach right now.
well,
We,
you know how you Pennsylvanians are. You know, that's how it's always a cloudy day in PA.
well, it's always sunny in Philadelphia, right?
That's right.
Sure.
That's true. Now, Tim, I know you've been speaking with Gear Up for many years, and you, as a professional, you represent a diverse group of clients. You bring great insights and on tax issues to the table, and you know that's why we love you here in Maryland, and because you really give us the down and dirty and the facts, which is great. And amazingly enough, September is just what
Unbelievable.
20 days away from us.
Yes.
It's just around the corner. And so again, we're going to kick off the season with Gear Up with BE in Annapolis, Maryland on this September 25th and 26th. Sorry, that is September 25th and 26th. And I want you to share with us, what can our attendees expect to hear?
Well, I can't share anything now because it's top secret. We can't
Oh,
share absolutely nothing, so I don't want to get there. But I'm only kidding, obviously. First off, what I like about Annapolis, a great town, and it's in a great location. The location has a nice big shopping center across the way. If you want to get away a little bit, going downtown's a beautiful little town down. I love
yeah.
downtown. So if I were going to plan a seminar with my partners or something, that would be one of the places I'd go. Stay for the night, hang out, have a little bit of fun on the government's dime. What has happened here, folks? Of course, we are now in the second year after TCJA, and a lot of folks think, well, that was the big deal. That was the big deal. Well, problem is that we need to implement TCJA.
Yes.
And a lot of the regulations and such have not been put out, but we have more information concerning such things as just entertainment. What do you do with the 179 bonus depreciation, the new used bonus rules, if you will? And
Right.
I think a lot of things are just people are starting to understand the law and question the law a little bit. So we're going to do a lot more on qualified improvement zones. So that's one of the things, qualified opportunity zones, excuse me.
Yeah.
That's an area that everybody needs to be able to speak at least reasonably. And we have more information out there now with those as far as how do you do the self-testing to get into this. And I think it's going to be very interesting. And for some of the people in the audience that really want to take this on, I think it could be a great opportunity for them to differentiate themselves from other people in the business. One of the things that people are aware of, but are not really aware of, is the new audit regime for partnerships. And that audit regime and partnerships, what was the prior temporary regulations, or the proposed regulations, I should say, turned out to be different when we got the final regulations.
Oh.
You need to know and understand this because the penalty calculations, or what they call the administrative adjustments, are really quite complex. So you need to have an understanding and hear it a few times before this will come in. And of course, now that we've had some time, we're now getting information on the interrelationships of such things as the excess business loss and the net operating losses and how they impact with 199A. So I think there's a lot of great information. We talk about the first day, we really get into all the changes that are taking place, and then we get into the nuts and bolts of some of the things that IRS is going after. We do have a big section on IRS and some changes that are coming down the pike now that we have that the Taxpayers First law that was signed July 6th. And that's going to be interesting because we had that in the book, even though our book hit press July 1st. So we were already anticipating that one. So we'll be expanding that to a bit. And a very interesting piece in that they're going to allow everyone to have an identity theft PIN optional. But here's the deal. In Pennsylvania, I might have to be waiting for that till 2024 before they get around it. You folks in Maryland now can go through and have the option of getting that. They're going to move appeals to an independent group. So there's a lot of very interesting things that impact the business. One of the things I would tell you, great planning opportunities. When they changed the law, they for the cash basis they increased it to what, $25 million of average gross receipts in order for
Mhm.
you to go back to the cash basis, and that's been indexed. Now it's up to 26 million, but the law gave you a 2-year window to make those changes.
Oh,
And so these are big changes, Sandy, and here's why. I have a client that we were able to get a free year free of taxes because we made the change in accounting law.
wow.
And it's going to hit them really well because they're sort of getting older, and we're predicting the stream of revenue to go down in the future. So we're going to pay less, we believe, going forward, making these changes.
There you go.
Great opportunity. We talk about the changes between S and C, and then of course C corporations is the S. And what do you do with partnerships? If
Right.
you are using LLCs, and especially LLC partnerships, and you're trying to evade self-employment tax, be very careful because IRS has got a number of programs that are going after on that. So
Wow.
I could go
Okay.
on in hours and hours. I really love the business entity course. First off, that's sort of the course that I sort of oversee. But when
Okay.
I started taking the business entity course, I started out as the person that just did the 1040, but then I started taking the business entity course. And, I just love the Gear Up Business Entity course. And the folks just seem to know so much. And I would go up to them. I remember going up to Joe Santoro and saying, Joe, how do you get to know all this stuff? And he says, well, I'm at this every day. Well, I said, how can I get better? And he said, you want to get better? Take a chapter of this book each day for 30 days, and you'll be much better at the end of the 30 days. And I
Wow.
use that advice on any course I take, and it really works out well. So I
Huh.
hope to see it. Now, the other piece, I find this about the Maryland Society in particular. You guys have so many educational opportunities that the crowd it's a higher level. It's a higher level than some of the other areas of the country where they're not as wealthy. Let's face it, Maryland, you're right up against the Beltway. You're dealing
Right.
with people with money. You get involved in things. And so it's a very sophisticated audience. And if you're a younger person looking for opportunities, I'll tell you, the group I meet and learn so much just from those groups that I teach in. This is
Wow.
they're great. They're just great. So the Annapolis group is a really good group. I like that. There's just so much with Gear Up right now.
Well, thank you. That was very sweet. Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah,
The other
I think we
question.
do an okay job. I think we do an okay job.
Well, there's a reason why you're the best association in the country, the biggest and the best, because you do things right. You don't.
Oh, well, thank you.
No,
Oh, and I'll give you that money later for that. Okay. Now we were talking about this offline. We have this new Ultratacks class that we have coming up that I'm really excited about, which is going to be on October 16th. And we were talking a little bit about this offline, and we're going to be doing it in Columbia, and right there we're live. And then also we're going to be doing it live streaming as well. So we're going to stream it as well. So for the people who are on the outskirts, because we're that excited about the program. I know that you have actually had a little story that you were sharing with me on it.
Yeah, I've been a long time Ultratacks user. I probably started using Ultratacks around 1985, and it's been my program that I've used. This is well before I ever started teaching for Gear Up, and Gear
Right.
Up during the period of time wasn't related to Thompson. So, and of course, Creative Solutions wasn't part of Thompson at that point in time.
That's right.
But what I always found is a great program. I never had my history, and I hear people with other tax programs saying, my tax software really blew it. I mean, I got 20 notices because they did some calculation wrong. I never had that. Never had that at all with any tax return I've done with Ultratacks. Now, a friend of mine, unfortunately, I'm traveling during the time they offer these seminars. A friend of mine took one. He said, "You're going to take this?" I said, "I've been using this program for 10 years. What are they going to teach me?" He said, "Well, I've been using it for about the same. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go." Let me tell you, he came back. He showed me 6 things that I did not know about Ultratacks. And so that was really cool. The interrelationships of their program. If you
Right.
are involved with preparing entities, the real reason that we use the program, and I really love the program, was that we did 80 partnership returns for a syndicate, a syndicator, 80
Wow.
partnership returns. And let me tell you something, they were cookie cutter partnerships. And with Ultratacks, I could nail those things down, an older one down in a half an hour to an hour, and we were getting a premium fee for it. And that to
They,
me paid for itself, paid for
yeah.
itself.
It all goes back to that thing, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah,
There you go.
and it's got to work for you. It's got to work for you.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a good program. I do want to take one myself. It's just maybe I can do
Yeah.
it online the day that it's
There
there.
you go. Yeah,
But
there you go.
pretty much October is my prime teaching season too, so we're out there.
Okay. Well, then also, we year at for many years we've done the estate trust seminar, and every year we have Charlie come in to do it for Gear Up, and with the changes going on, I was really exciting to hear that Charlie has totally revamped the program, and we're actually going to be putting a video that he put together down in the comments section so they can hear actually from Charlie himself. But without that, Tim, I know that you know Charlie and you know
Yeah.
the product. So, I mean, what changes are we actually going to see on this one?
Well, when I think of estates and trust, I really feel bad that I'm not going to have to file, my heirs are not going to have to file a 706. 11.4 million. What? My wife, 11.4 million. We're not even close. I feel so insignificant.
That's right.
But I'm going to tell you, one of the things we do is a few 1041s, a few 1041s. Now, where are they coming from? They're coming from attorneys. Do we get a
Oh,
really good fee on this? Yes. Now, where does Charlie come in? Well, I know Charlie. Charlie's a great guy. He's a lot of fun. He's a straight shooter. He's going to tell you directly what he thinks. There is no filter on Charlie.
this is true.
But I will tell you one thing Charlie's strength is. This is all Charlie does. He's not somebody that put a book together that says, hey, here it is. I don't know. In fact, I know people who have bought him in on consults and saved hundreds of thousands of dollars. And Joe Calvo had a case last year in which he could not believe Charlie's depth of knowledge in this area. And Joe Calvo's very sophisticated. He said, for now on, any kind of estate and trust, I'm just giving it over to Charlie. So there is a lot to do with these elections. The areas that he's covered, the general probate, the trust tech terminology, the final returns, the elections associated with it, the fiduciary accounting. A lot of people take that for granted. But if you're doing trust, you better know what the darn trust agreement says. Why? Because if you or somebody's getting too much money and I'm the remainder man, and that should have been my money, I'm coming after you. And I don't care that you tried to save a few bucks on the tax return by distributing it out. I'm suing you. I'm going to sue.
Okay. A little passion there.
So I think he's, without a doubt, the best. I always try to lay over extra days when I'm in Las Vegas because that's one of the places he teaches, and Disney World if I can get to him because it's just a great thing. I know people say, Tim, I don't do a lot of that. Do I really need to go? Well, one of the things I always thought is learn for the practice that you want, not for the practice that you got.
Yep, that's exactly right.
If you want to be in the minor leagues, don't practice. But if you
Right.
want to be in the majors, you are taking batting practice. You are pitching. You're doing anything you can to get on the big field.
Right. And I'll tell you, as ourselves and our clients are getting older, we're getting those estate questions. And because of that,
Hello. Yeah.
I know. So, I mean, you need to have some sort of foundation. So I totally agree on that. I really do.
And what a great opportunity for a younger tax practitioner.
Yeah.
Bringing something new into a business And let's face it, these younger tax practitioners have a great opportunity if they can hook up with an older practitioner that's ready to transition. That could
Right.
be a great win-win for both of you.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So, and then we're going to top it off. We're going to go into our 1040 seminars in Gaithersburg and Annapolis. I know you can give us a little peek. I know it's a little early, but can you give us a little peek on what we can expect there on the 1040s?
Well, the 1040, once again, we're still looking at TCJA, its impact. But let's just tell you some of the things I know intimately because I've written on them. With
Okay.
regard to the 1040, some of the things that come to mind right off the bat is what about these SALT workarounds that are each one of the states are trying to come up with? Are they going to work? And we pretty much give you the law behind it and IRS's position on this. So you're going to get a good sense of what it can be done and what can't be done.
Right.
Interesting, however, IRS really hasn't come out with this, but a lot of states are doing a workaround by making flow-through entities themselves taxable. And that, I think, can work. So it's interesting.
Mm,
The other piece is since there's been a cut down, as you know, on the qualified mortgage interest amount for
right.
those who are not grandfathered with the old million, and the fact that people use their homes for so many different things, we're going to talk in depth about the mortgage tracing rules. How do you do those, use those to your advantage? How do you deal with the payments on debt that's been used for many different purposes? We're going to talk about the changes in charitable contribution. Not only the things that are going on with, say, conservation easements, but
Hmm.
with this new 24/4 for a married couple standard deduction, how do you maximize your giving? How do you get
Right.
the giving so that it accounts? So it's a lot of good stuff in there. We're going to talk about strategies on that. And then we're going to talk about some differentiators. A lot of folks are aware that TCJA did away with personal casualty losses unless they're part of a publicly or federally declared disaster.
That's
But
correct.
people put too much in the personal casualty section, and certain things should not be in the personal casualty section. They should be other miscellaneous deductions, which are still deductible. So you want to be able to understand the difference between those.
Oh,
We are going to talk more about retirement. Obviously, people are getting closer to retirement.
right.
I'll give you the older folks stuff for your older clients. We're going to talk more about Social Security. We're going to talk more about the Medicare and more about retirement, and especially in ways in which you can create more tax-free income in retirement.
Yeah.
Tax-free income in retirement. Why is this? Well, let's just look at the political situation. We know right now that this is the lowest tax rates we're ever going to have.
Yes.
It's the lowest in my whole lifetime. And we know that this government, the way it spends money, and the fact that the population is aging, and now they're going to have to start repaying the money they borrowed from Social
Yes.
Security, tax rates are going to go up. So you may think that you got $1 million in your retirement account, but is that million really yours? That would be my question.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the deals with the devil. When you put that money away, you save taxes. You know what you saved on the taxes.
Hmm.
But Uncle Sam can change the deal on you any day of the week to make you pay more on that. So is really $1 million yours? Or is it 700 or is it 600,000 without your taxes? So we're going to talk
Mm.
about some of those strategies.
Okay.
Social Security. By the way, I just want to throw this out. Retirement plans. I know I'm talking to people who are very busy, very busy. Where do I get time to do my retirement plans? Well, I'm going to tell you. I was the other day when I was on the phone to IRS. That's the perfect time to do your retirement planning because it takes so long for them to answer the phone, for crying out loud. So I was thinking, Tim, do I want to take my Social Security at age 62 or at full retirement age? And then I really decided that it didn't matter because I was going to be on the phone beyond my 62nd birthday with these folks. So there's a lot of fun things there for the younger folks. We're going to talk about the student debt crisis and what the limited things that you can do. I mean, there's nothing more that drives me nuts is to see some of the debt that these young folks have
It's
and
a
not have
shame.
an
It's an
option for it.
absolute shame. It
So,
is.
so we got some links for you. We got some basic data. So what you talk about refinancing programs, what is forgivable, what is not forgivable. And there's a couple new provisions, TCJA included. We're going to make sure that you get that, you understand that. And then we're just going to talk about cancellation of debt in general, the retirement aspects of it, the net investment income tax. Of course, that structure has changed. If you recall, the original net investment income tax for those who have married, filing a joint return, AGI is more than 250,000. They are what? Paying an additional 3.8% on their unearned income. Well,
Yes.
guess what? That structure has changed in light of TCJA. Why?
Mm.
Because here's what happened. The deductions you got for federal tax purposes were based on whether they were deductible for regular tax purposes. And guess what? They eliminated the miscellaneous itemized deductions.
There you
All
go.
of a sudden,
Yep.
the fees associated are no longer deductible.
Nope.
However, there's the real for the state and local taxes, the answer is different. So it's kind of interesting, very interesting.
Yeah.
So I like it. You know, we also get involved. The other side of it, I teach that side. The other side, Schedule C, just a basic meat that you need to know, all the changes that you need to know to be ready for tax season. And I think that was the realm that this course was following. Just
Great.
you're ready and going. And
That's
I see my
super.
groups every year.
Yeah. Now, I know we're going to end that. Garrett's going to be our last seminar for the year. I shouldn't say it because, with everything that's happened, we are now doing seminars year round. So I should say of the season. And it's going to be January 14th. It's going to be Gaithersburg. And we're going to do the Fed tax update. So give my group an explanation of what's the real difference between the 1040 and the Fed update.
Okay, great question. Well, first of all, the federal tax update would encompass more than just, say, individual taxes. It would also bring in business taxes. And so what they're really doing is this is the latest and greatest up to that point. It's a very flexible course. It changes as time goes on. Now, with all our courses, we are always bringing them up to date. So if you hear sit in a 1040 course in December, it's going to be the law as that point in time.
Yep.
Our problem has been for the last several years, Congress doesn't get around to passing laws until into the next year. And for the last several years, meaningful regulations, notices have all dropped during your holiday season when you may be trying to relax a little bit. So
Right.
it's a much more updated. Now, the other piece is an update is much more, this was the law, this is it now. This is the law, this is the change. Whereas the other courses, this is the mechanics of what you're getting involved in. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Now, I always looked at it this way, and tell me if I'm wrong. At the seminars that we're doing, the 1040, the state's address really gets in the mechanics and the really down, and it really dives into it deeper. Whereas
Yep.
the Fed tax update really gives you a quick update, and it really does all of them. Whereas each of those seminars is specific on that topic. Where this is really quick. 1 hour, 1.5. It just gives you the quick updates. So you need to have that foundation in the 1040, this
Absolutely.
and once you have that, then going to the Fed tax update, it just gives you, okay, this is what happened in the last 60 days or so, or since that point in time. Is that, that's how I always try to explain it.
Well, it would be all updated so that, I would say that it would encompass more than 60 days because you would still bring in other things.
Sure.
You're right. You're not going to get into the dirt and the mechanics in that course that you would with the other courses. Where
Right.
the other courses, for instance, let's say that you are changing accounting methods
Right.
because you're going from an S to a C corporation and you have the 6 years. Well, they're going to mention something like that, really then show you the result of it.
Exactly.
The
Yeah.
business entity course will get into the calculations of what do you do with the old accumulated adjustments account, where the other will just mention it.
Right.
So they're both very helpful in being aware. And here's the other thing. things change so much in this that sometimes you learn something and you need to hear it more than once or read it more than once.
Oh, yes, that's the truth.
Because, one of the things I think that TCJA did when it was such a large change, we really hadn't had a change like this since the 1986, the tax reform.
Right, the 86 reform, yeah.
Most tax practitioners, if you sit down with them and you're having a conversation, you give them a fact pattern, they have a map built out in their head of how this thing all flows. And the good ones can tell you this is what's going to happen to you. All of a sudden,
Mhm.
the map got shifted around a little bit, and some of the things that you are no longer there or have been modified. And that's the piece that you always have to
Right,
do. So
right.
it always pays to stay up.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, I can't wait to see everything. And, I know you guys put a great manual together. And I mean, it's always we always get that software. I'm assuming that your guys are going to continue with that, where it's a searchable, where we get the
Yeah,
software.
yeah. There is a PDF associated with it.
Yes,
Absolutely.
exactly. Yep,
I
that's
think I can
great.
knock that down to more of an easier method to do with that. But the book, I know people that we attend the course just for the book,
Oh yeah,
and I
it's a great research.
and over here on my bookshelf I have it. It's my Bible. It's my
Right.
first. I pay for a lot of tax software, but if you're showing a individual something like say a younger person, it's easy to pull that manual out, tell them to copy the few pages, and have them read it over and they get an understanding of it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I've actually used that on audit, the manual, believe it or not.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, I was having an argument one time with an auditor over the cancellation of debt. And he said, no, you got to recognize income. I go, no, they're excluded because of this provision. So I took the Gear Up book out. I opened the manual, showed it to him. And even though it's not authority, he accepted it. I said, okay. I just failed
Hey.
to mention I was the one who wrote the chapters. So that was.
I'm glad you didn't have your little name there on the side.
Well, it was in the front of the book. I ripped that out.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It was a pleasure. It's a great way to start the day. I look forward
Yes.
to
And I have a great vacation. I have a great vacation, and we'll see you in the fall.
Hey, listen, thank you. It's been fun.
Great. Okay, just on a couple notes before we close out for the day. Next week, August 11th, starts the tax-free week in Maryland. This is a great opportunity for the parents to get deals on back-to-school supplies and save on the sales tax. So make sure you get your shopping done next week. Save on that sales tax. You won't have to go to Delaware. Oops, did I say that out loud? Oops. So, so make sure you take advantage of the tax-free week. As everyone knows, the IRS is working on that new W-4 form. This is not the only form that is currently being considered for changes. I mean, I understand there's also some changes to the QBI form that actually it's going to as an actual form this year. And also we have the 1040R, brand new form for your older clients. So if you want to see all the new drafts of all the new forms, we're going to be posting the website there at the bottom for you to take a quick look at that. But like I said, there is a draft of the 1040, so you just get acclimated to what changes you can are looking to see for the upcoming tax season. Also, each year, we MSATP and MACPA jointly every other year do a IRS liaison meeting. This year's meeting, MACPA is hosting it, and it's going to be October 24th. So you're asking, what is this meeting? So what happens, the IRS comes to a meeting, it comes to the table, and they want to hear from the associations of what's going on. What is the practitioners dealing with? That, we are the people, we have the feet on the ground here, and so in the trenches. So they want to hear what's going on. What can they do to help? Now, I know that's a long list, but we try to narrow it down. But I'm open for any suggestions or any ideas or any thoughts that our listeners are having on the issues they're dealing with, whether it be with the IRS or the process, what they're seeing on the forms, why is this form asking this question? This is the kind of things they when you want to sit down and talk about. So if you have any questions, please send them over to me. I would need them to me by September 20th. So make sure you take this opportunity because, this is time for your voice to be heard. And like I said, we will be able to do that for you at this meeting. So next week we're going to be discussing. Now you heard a little bit about the Gear Up program. Next week we're going to actually talk about the whole season of education that's coming down the pike, and plus any other new events, because we are constantly adding in new topics, new programs, and so we want you to be abreast of what's going on. We are here for you, so make sure you join us next week, and so you'll get to hear an update on everything that's going on. So until next time, have a wonderful day. Enjoy this beautiful sunshine, and we'll see you next